and a warm welcome back to the Leo English Podcast. We are absolutely delighted to have you here with us today for another practical and engaging English lesson. I'm Erica.
And I'm Marco. On this channel, our mission is to help you speak English naturally, confidently, and clearly through real, everyday conversations. Today's topic is something everyone needs to talk about every single day.
That's right. Today we're talking about how to talk about yesterday in English. Whether you're catching up with friends, writing in a journal, or sharing stories with colleagues, you need to know how to describe past events clearly and naturally.
Talking about the past is one of the most common things we do in conversation. We ask, "What did you do yesterday?" or "How was your day?" And we answer with stories about what happened, what we did, and how we felt.
But many learners struggle with this. They forget the past tense, they mix up irregular verbs, or they don't know how to make their stories sound interesting. Today, we're going to fix all of that.
We'll cover everything: morning routines, work and study, social activities, meals, evening relaxation, and even how to describe your feelings about yesterday. We'll give you all the vocabulary, grammar, and phrases you need.
And we'll give you many examples so you can practice and feel confident talking about your own yesterday.
If you enjoy learning with us, please give this video a big thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and click the notification bell so you never miss a lesson.
All right, Marco, let's get started. So, Marco, how was your day yesterday?
You know what? Yesterday was actually a really good day. It started off a bit chaotic, but it ended beautifully.
Oh, really? What happened? Tell me about it.
Well, I woke up late yesterday morning. My alarm didn't go off, so I woke up at 8:30 instead of 7. I was so stressed because I had a meeting at 9.
Oh, no. What did you do?
I rushed to get ready. I took the fastest shower of my life, skipped breakfast, and ran out the door. I made it to the meeting just in time, but I forgot my notes at home.
That sounds stressful. How did the meeting go?
Honestly, it went really well. I was nervous at first, but I remembered everything I needed to say. My colleagues were very understanding. After the meeting, I felt relieved.
That's great. What did you do after work?
After work, I went for a walk in the park. The weather was perfect, sunny but not too hot. I called my sister and we talked for about an hour. It was so nice to catch up with her.
That sounds wonderful. What did you do in the evening?
In the evening, I cooked dinner. I made pasta with a tomato sauce and some grilled vegetables. It turned out really delicious. Then I watched a movie and went to bed around 11.
That sounds like a full and balanced day. I'm glad it ended well.
Thank you. What about you? How was your yesterday?
Yesterday was a bit more relaxed for me. I didn't have many meetings, so I worked from home in the morning. I answered emails, prepared some lesson materials, and had a productive morning.
That sounds nice. What did you do in the afternoon?
In the afternoon, I met a friend for lunch. We went to a small Italian restaurant near my house. The food was amazing. I had a delicious mushroom risotto. We talked for almost 2 hours about everything: work, travel, and life in general.
That sounds wonderful. What did you do after lunch?
After lunch, I went to the bookstore and bought a new novel. I've been wanting to read it for weeks. Then I came home, made some tea, and read for a couple of hours. It was the perfect way to relax.
That sounds like a perfect day. What did you do in the evening?
In the evening, I stayed home and watched a documentary about nature. It was so beautiful and calming. Then I called my parents and we chatted for about 30 minutes. I went to bed feeling very peaceful.
That sounds lovely. You know, the conversation we just had is exactly the kind of conversation people have every day. How was your day? What did you do yesterday? These are the most common questions in English.
Exactly, and that's why today's lesson is so important. Let's dive into our main lesson and teach our listeners how to talk about yesterday with confidence.
So, Erica, let's start with the most basic question. What tense do we use to talk about yesterday?
We use the past simple tense. For regular verbs, we add ed to the end. For example, I walked to work yesterday, or she watched a movie last night.
But there are many irregular verbs, right?
Yes, many common verbs are irregular. For example, go becomes went, eat becomes ate, have becomes had, see becomes saw, take becomes took, and do becomes did.
So instead of saying, I go to the store yesterday, we say, I went to the store yesterday.
Exactly. And instead of I eat breakfast, we say I ate breakfast. The past simple is essential for talking about yesterday.
Now let's break down how to talk about yesterday step by step. We'll start with the morning.
When you talk about yesterday morning, you can start with yesterday morning, for example, yesterday morning I woke up early, or yesterday morning I had a busy start.
Other useful phrases are I got up at and I had breakfast. For example, I got up at 7, or I had toast and coffee for breakfast.
You can also talk about your morning routine. I took a shower, I brushed my teeth, I got dressed, and I left the house.
What if you had a chaotic morning? You can say, yesterday morning was chaotic, or I had a stressful morning.
And you can give details like I woke up late, or I couldn't find my keys, or I missed the bus.
Now let's talk about describing the afternoon and work or study time.
You can say, in the afternoon for example, in the afternoon I had a meeting, or in the afternoon I studied for my exam.
Another common phrase is I worked on. For example, I worked on a project, or I worked on my English.
You can also describe what happened. I had lunch with a friend, or I went to class, or I finished my report.
And if you had a break, you can say I took a short break, or I went for a walk during my lunch break.
Now let's talk about the evening. This is often when people relax or socialize.
You can say in the evening for example, in the evening I cooked dinner, or in the evening I watched TV.
Another common phrase is I went out, or I stayed home. For example, I went out with friends, or I stayed home and relaxed.
You can also say I had dinner at a restaurant, or I ordered takeout, or I made a homemade meal.
And if you did something fun, you can say I watched a movie, I read a book, or I talked to my family.
Now let's talk about describing how you felt about yesterday. This makes your story more interesting.
You can say, yesterday was a great day, or yesterday was a busy day, or yesterday was a relaxing day.
Another useful phrase is I felt. For example, I felt happy, or I felt tired, or I felt productive.
You can also say, I enjoyed my day, or I didn't enjoy my day, or I had a wonderful day.
Now let's talk about the sequence of events. This helps your story flow naturally.
Use words like first, then, after that, next, and finally. For example, first, I woke up. Then, I had breakfast. After that, I went to work.
Another useful word is later. For example, later in the afternoon, I met a friend. Or, later that evening, I watched a movie.
And you can use before and after. For example, before work, I went to the gym. Or after work, I went home.
Now let's talk about asking questions about yesterday. This is how conversations start.
The most common question is, what did you do yesterday? You can also ask, how was your day yesterday? Or, did you have a good day?
Other useful questions are, what did you do in the morning? What did you have for lunch? And did you do anything fun last night?
And if you want to ask about feelings, you can say, how did you feel yesterday? Or Were you tired? Or did you enjoy your day?
Now let's give some sample answers to these questions. Let me start.
Sure. If someone asks, "What did you do yesterday?" you can say, "I worked in the morning, had lunch with a friend, and relaxed in the evening."
Another answer is I went to the gym, then went to work, and after work I watched a movie.
If someone asks, "How was your day yesterday?" you can say, "It was really productive," or "It was a bit tiring, but good."
You can also say, it was a great day. I enjoyed every moment.
Now, let's talk about common mistakes learners make when talking about yesterday.
One common mistake is using the present tense instead of the past. For example, saying, "I go to work yesterday," instead of "I went to work yesterday."
Another mistake is forgetting irregular verb forms. For example, saying, "I eated breakfast," instead of "I ate breakfast."
And another mistake is forgetting the time markers. For example, saying, "I went to work," without saying "yesterday" or "last week."
So always use time markers like yesterday, last night, this morning, or in the morning.
Now let's do a longer practice conversation about yesterday. Let me start with a detailed story.
Great. I'll ask you questions and you can answer in detail.
Sounds perfect.
So, Marco, what did you do yesterday morning?
Yesterday morning, I woke up at 7. I took a shower, got dressed, and had a quick breakfast, just some toast and coffee. Then I left the house and went to work. I arrived at the office around 8:30.
That sounds very organized. What did you do at work?
At work, I had a meeting with my team. We discussed a new project that we're starting next month. Then I spent most of the morning answering emails and preparing for the afternoon.
What did you do for lunch?
For lunch, I went to a small cafe near my office. I had a sandwich and a salad. It was really fresh and delicious. I also called my sister during my lunch break to say hello.
That sounds nice. What did you do in the afternoon?
In the afternoon, I worked on a presentation for Friday. It took me about 3 hours to finish it. I also had a short meeting with my manager to review the progress.
What time did you do in the afternoon?
I finished work around 6. It was a long day, but I felt good because I accomplished a lot.
What did you do after work?
After work, I went to the gym. I exercised for about an hour. Then I went home, took a shower, and cooked dinner. I made a simple pasta dish with vegetables. It turned out really well.
What did you do in the evening?
In the evening, I watched a documentary on Netflix. It was about space exploration. I found it really fascinating. Then I read for about 30 minutes before going to bed around 11.
That sounds like a balanced and productive day. How did you feel about yesterday overall?
I felt really good about yesterday. I was productive at work, I exercised, and I had time to relax. It was a good balance. I went to bed feeling satisfied with my day.
That's wonderful. Now, let me share my yesterday in more detail.
Please do.
Yesterday morning, I woke up a little later than usual. I woke up at 8 because I didn't have any early meetings. I took my time getting ready. I had a big breakfast, eggs, toast, and fresh fruit.
That sounds like a perfect start.
It was. I didn't go to the office. I worked from home. In the morning, I answered emails and prepared some lesson materials for my students. I also recorded a short video for my class.
What did you do for lunch?
For lunch, I went to a small cafe near my house. I had a delicious bowl of soup and a sandwich. The weather was beautiful, so I sat outside and enjoyed the sunshine.
That sounds lovely. What did you do in the afternoon?
In the afternoon, I met a friend for coffee. We haven't seen each other in a while, so we caught up on everything: work, family, and travel plans. We talked for almost 2 hours.
That's wonderful. What did you do after that?
After that, I went home and did some reading. I'm reading a really interesting novel right now. I read for about an hour and a half. It was so relaxing.
What did you do in the evening?
In the evening, I went for a walk in my neighborhood. The sunset was beautiful. Then I came home, made some tea, and watched a comedy show on TV. It made me laugh so much.
What did you have for dinner?
I made a simple dinner, grilled chicken with vegetables. It was light and healthy. Then I called my parents and we talked for a while.
How did you feel about yesterday?
I felt very happy and peaceful. It wasn't a very busy day, but it was full of simple joys. good food, good company, and relaxing moments. I went to bed feeling grateful.
That sounds like a beautiful day.
It really was. Now, let's think about what we can learn from our stories.
Well, both of us used the past simple tense to describe our actions. We said woke up, had, went, worked, finished, cooked, and watched.
We also use time markers like yesterday morning, in the afternoon, after work, and in the evening.
We used sequence words like first, then, after that, and finally, to connect our actions.
And we also talked about our feelings, how we felt about the day, and what we enjoyed.
That's a complete and natural way to talk about yesterday.
Now, let's move to our extended vocabulary breakdown.
First word, yesterday. This is the day before today. For example, yesterday was a good day.
Last night refers to the evening or night of yesterday. For example, last night I watched a movie.
This morning refers to the morning of today. But when we talk about yesterday morning, we say yesterday morning.
Past simple tense is the tense we use for finished actions. For example, I walked, I ate, and I went.
Regular verbs are verbs that add ed in the past. For example, work becomes worked. Play becomes played.
Irregular verbs are verbs that change completely. For example, go becomes went. Eat becomes ate.
Time marker is a word that shows when something happened. For example, yesterday, last week, in the morning.
Sequence words are words that show the order of events. For example, first, then, after that, finally.
Feeling is how you feel emotionally. For example, happy, tired, satisfied.
And routine is something you do regularly. For example, my morning routine, my daily routine.
Now let's give more example sentences for each part of the day.
Let's start with morning examples. Yesterday morning, I woke up at 7. I took a shower. I had breakfast. I left the house at 8.
More morning examples. I brushed my teeth. I got dressed. I made coffee. I checked my phone. I listened to music on my way to work.
Now let's move to afternoon examples. In the afternoon, I had lunch. I went to a meeting. I worked on my project. I called my friend. I took a break.
More afternoon examples. I went shopping. I visited a museum. I studied for my exam. I wrote an email. I met my colleague.
Now let's move to evening examples. In the evening, I cooked dinner. I watched TV. I read a book. I went for a walk. I talked to my family.
More evening examples. I went to the gym. I met my friends. I played a game. I listened to music. I relaxed at home.
Now let's give examples of how to describe your feelings about yesterday.
Yesterday was a great day. Yesterday was busy but good. Yesterday was relaxing. Yesterday was stressful, but I survived.
More feeling examples. I felt happy all day. I felt tired at the end of the day. I felt proud of myself. I felt grateful. I felt satisfied with my work.
Now let's give examples of questions you can ask about yesterday.
What did you do yesterday? How was your day yesterday? Did you have a good day? What time did you wake up? Where did you go?
Marco. More question examples. What did you have for breakfast? Who did you meet? What did you do in the evening? Did you watch anything interesting? How did you feel?
Erica. Now let's give examples of how to say you didn't do something.
Marco. I didn't go to work yesterday. I didn't see my friends. I didn't eat breakfast. I didn't sleep well. I didn't feel well.
Erica. More negative examples. I didn't watch TV. I didn't have time. I didn't finish my work. I didn't go outside. I didn't call my family.
Marco. Now let's talk about how to describe a bad day yesterday.
Erica. You can say, yesterday was a terrible day. Or, Yesterday was really stressful. Or, I had a rough day yesterday.
Marco. You can also say, nothing went right yesterday. Or, everything went wrong. Or, I wish I could redo yesterday.
And you can explain why. For example, I lost my keys, missed the bus, and had a terrible meeting.
Marco. Now let's talk about how to describe a good day yesterday.
Erica. You can say, yesterday was a wonderful day. Or, I had such a great day yesterday. Or, everything went perfectly.
Marco. You can also say, I enjoyed every moment of yesterday. Or, I couldn't have asked for a better day.
And you can explain why. For example, I spent time with friends, ate delicious food, and felt so happy.
Marco. Now let's give a longer example of how to describe a full day in English.
Here's a full day example. Yesterday was a really productive day. I woke up at 7, took a shower, and had a quick breakfast. I went to work at 8:30. In the morning, I had a meeting and answered emails. For lunch, I ate a sandwich at my desk. In the afternoon, I finished a big project. After work, I went to the gym and exercised for an hour. Then I went home, cooked dinner, and watched a movie. I went to bed at 11, feeling very satisfied.
That's a complete and natural description of a day.
Here's another example. Yesterday was a relaxing day. I woke up late, around 9. I didn't have any plans, so I took my time. I had a big breakfast and read the news. In the afternoon, I went for a walk in the park. The weather was beautiful. I called my sister and we talked for a long time. In the evening, I made a simple dinner and watched a documentary. I went to bed feeling peaceful and grateful.
That's beautiful. Now let's give some tips for improving your past tense storytelling.
Tip 1. Practice every day. Every evening, think about your day and describe it in English.
Tip 2. Learn irregular verbs. Make a list and practice them regularly.
Tip 3. Use time markers. Always say when something happened.
Tip 4. Use sequence words. Connect your ideas with first, then, after that, and finally.
Tip 5. Practice with a friend. Ask each other about your days and describe them in detail.
Tip 6. Listen to native speakers. Notice how they describe their days and copy their patterns.
Now, let's do one more extended sample conversation. Let's imagine someone asks you about your yesterday and you give a detailed answer. Okay, so how was your day yesterday?
Yesterday was actually a really interesting day. I woke up at 6:30 because I had an early meeting. I took a quick shower, had some cereal for breakfast, and left the house by 7:15. I arrived at the office at 8 and prepared for the meeting. The meeting lasted for 2 hours. After the meeting, I had lunch with my team. We went to a new restaurant, and the food was amazing. In the afternoon, I worked on a report. It took me about 3 hours to finish. Then I had another short meeting at 4 o'clock. After work, I went to the gym. I did some cardio and strength training. I felt really good after my workout. Then I went home, cooked a healthy dinner, and watched a movie. I was so tired that I fell asleep on the couch. I woke up around midnight and went to bed properly. Overall, it was a busy but satisfying day.
That's a fantastic example. It's detailed, has all the time markers, and describes feelings too.
Thank you. Now let's do another sample where the day wasn't so great.
Yesterday was not my best day. I woke up late because my alarm didn't go off. I rushed to get ready and skipped breakfast. I missed the bus and had to wait for the next one, so I was late for work. My boss wasn't happy. Then I had a difficult meeting with a client. The client was unhappy with our work. I spent the whole afternoon trying to fix the problem. I didn't even have time for lunch. After work, I was so tired that I just went home and slept. I didn't even eat dinner. It was a really stressful day.
That's also a very natural description. It shows that not every day is perfect.
Exactly, and it's honest and real.
Now let's talk about how to talk about yesterday in different contexts.
In a formal context, you might say, "Yesterday, I attended a meeting with our international partners and we finalized the agreement."
In an informal context, you might say, "Hey, I went out with my friends yesterday. We had a blast."
In a journal, you might write, "Yesterday was a beautiful day. I woke up early, went for a run, and spent the afternoon reading."
In a classroom, you might say, "Yesterday, I studied for my English exam. I practiced speaking and listening for 2 hours."
In a job interview, you might say, "Yesterday, I prepared a presentation for my team and received positive feedback."
So the language adapts to the context, but the basic structure is always the same.
Exactly. Now let's move to our final practice exercise.
I'm going to give a prompt, and you can describe your answer in detail.
Okay.
Prompt 1. Describe what you did yesterday from morning to night.
Yesterday morning, I woke up at 7. I took a shower, got dressed, and had breakfast. I had toast with peanut butter and a cup of coffee. Then I left for work. I arrived at the office at 8:30. In the morning, I had a meeting and answered emails. For lunch, I went to a cafe and had a salad. In the afternoon, I worked on a project. I finished it around 5. After work, I went for a walk. The weather was really nice. Then I went home, cooked dinner, and watched a movie. I went to bed at 11.
Excellent. Prompt 2. Describe what you did yesterday that was fun or enjoyable.
Yesterday, I did something really fun. I went to the beach with my friends. The weather was perfect, sunny and warm. We swam in the ocean and played volleyball. We also had a picnic on the sand. We ate sandwiches, fruit, and chips. In the evening, we watched the sunset. It was so beautiful. We took lots of photos. I felt so happy and grateful for the day.
That sounds amazing. Prompt 3. Describe what you did yesterday that was challenging.
Yesterday, I faced a challenge at work. I had to present a report to a large group of people. I was very nervous. I spent the whole morning preparing my presentation. In the afternoon, I presented it. My voice was shaky at first, but I calmed down. In the end, the presentation went well. People asked good questions and gave positive feedback. I felt proud of myself for facing my fear.
That's a wonderful example of describing a challenge.
Now, let's summarize all the key points from today's lesson.
First, use the past simple tense to talk about yesterday.
Second, learn your irregular verbs.
Third, use time markers like yesterday morning and in the afternoon.
Fourth, use sequence words like first, then, after that, and finally.
Fifth, describe your feelings about the day.
Sixth, ask questions about other people's days.
Seventh, practice every day.
And finally, don't be afraid to make mistakes.
Now, we want to hear from you. This is our favorite part.
Yes, we love reading your comments. Our question of the day is, what did you do yesterday?
I'll go first. Yesterday, I went to work, had a meeting, went to the gym, and watched a movie in the evening. It was a good day.
That's a great answer. Yesterday, I worked from home, met a friend for coffee, read a book, and went for a walk. It was a peaceful day.
See, we have different answers, and that's okay.
So, viewers, we want to know about you. What did you do yesterday?
You can write something like, yesterday I went to school, had lunch with my family, and studied English. Or, yesterday I stayed home, watched TV, and relaxed. Or, yesterday I visited my grandmother and helped her with some chores.
Please tell us in the comments. Write a short answer and practice your English with us.
So please share your answer. We'd really love to read it.
Thank you so much for spending this time with us today. We hope this lesson helps you talk about yesterday with confidence.
If you enjoyed this video, give it a big thumbs up and click the subscribe button and the little bell. That way you won't forget to join us for our next lesson.
You are all great students, and we're very happy to learn with you. Keep practicing. Remember, every day is a story worth telling in English.
Yes, don't be afraid to share your day. Your stories are beautiful.
Have a wonderful day, evening, and night wherever you are.
Take care, keep learning, and keep speaking English.
Goodbye, everyone.
Goodbye. See you in the next lesson.